Let's go to the second question for Esther. User experience design is really a mindset that brings focus to research, empathy, and the benefit of an iterative design process. Could you share examples on how you integrate UX design methodologies into what you do now?
I'd love to. It's such an easy question because I really believe that UX goes into everything that we do all the time. I'd say one of the big things at the moment is my big project right now is doing a rebrand of Wikimedia because none of you really know about it. And we're doing basically a very open and transparent design process so to bring the community in to this whole thing. But when you're not necessarily a designer or a UX person or UI, you don't necessarily get the process, and you're like, just show me it, just show me what it looks like, just show me what it's going to be. And I've had to really be so grateful of how much that I've learned that the process is just so important to get to the right outcome, and then to be able to try to guide people along that way, even though you know that you're speaking a different language to them that isn't necessarily what they do. But it's amazing though when you're like, all right, well, I'm just going to jump, but if I put myself in their shoes, what's their process that they have to go through for whatever they do in life? Because we know that there's a process for anything. No one's just like an amazing cook and it's just the dinner's ready in a second. They've got to go through their process to make it. It's inevitable. So I think for one, the really big one with UX was it wasn't at the start when you'd gone through the courses I did at FIT. You really start with design, graphic design, and then you sort of went into that field afterwards. And my process, the creative process, the design process was kind of, it's funny, it's kind of sexy. It was pretty exciting. You did a bit of research, you did some doodles, you kind of took it from there, you did a nice mood board, and you're like, see, the process is gorgeous. And then when it got to UX, you're like, oh, you want me to write about people? And then there's Sally, she likes shopping. I'm like, interesting. But yet so important. And it really taught me that it in some ways these, what I didn't recognize at the start of sort of these basic steps to get to where we go to actually was so important. And then when you learn how valuable they were, you started to enjoy them so much. And I think for that point, it became not personal anymore. It wasn't choosing purple because purple meant something to me because my mum used to have, a purple dress that I liked. It was that I'm thinking of this user and I'm thinking about what they need and what means something to them. And I also think I know this user. I think that's the professor that I used to have. I can imagine them and bring this to life. It also made me really appreciate a button. And I think I simplify that, but it's any little part of this process, of this user experience, of this digital design, I started to know that every single element of it is so vital, and how big that button is, how much that color of the button draws your eye there to click it. It's all been so strategically thought out and tested. And so I know if anyone ever puts that in front of me to review, I can value how much work went into it to put it there, and also be able to assess it with that knowledge. Because at the end of the day, I work for Wikipedia, which is born online, and all those elements that we talked about has made, is covers every element of what Wikipedia and all these different projects are. So it's, even though UX is not in my title, it's a part of every step of my day.
Great. I have a question for you. This is actually from one of our graduating senior, Victoria Zhang. She's asking, because of the quarantine, would it be a good time to get a mentor? If so, how do we know who is a good mentor for us?
Yeah. I got the question. I think that there's everyone is, well, not everyone. I am in a reflective mode. I even listened to a podcast this morning around how acts of service brings you more happiness. And I think I am trying to find ways to be able to offer something in a time when I'm locked up in my apartment. So I think it does. I think you need to be very aware that maybe it's not right for some people and maybe it's really right for another person. So I wouldn't take it at all as an offense if someone says I just can't right now. But in choosing a mentor, I think look for, it's like anything, like any project, like what do you want to get out of it, right? What's the why? What's the problem you're trying to solve? And I remember being asked this before. I was like, when I was becoming a strategist, they said, like, what do you look for in a mentor? I was like, I need someone that will tell me to stop researching when I've done enough research and to actually get into the strategic thinking. So it was like, think about what you actually want from someone, or do you want a cheerleader? Or do you want someone like freaking real talk? Be like, no, you need to go over here. Like, think about what you need. And if you have seen someone out there in the industry that you believe kind of would offer that, I would write them a lovely personal note and explain that to them and see if they're interested. I think there's a big difference when someone like says, you know, you get a notification to connect on LinkedIn to someone actually writing, hey, I saw you do this. This is really interesting to me. I'm wondering if we could get a coffee and talk about it. You're like, it's just night and day what that means.
Absolutely. I'd love to chime in here. I think Ester's onto something. You know, when you do approach someone, make sure you tell them, hey, this is how I found you. This is what I appreciate about your work. And can we talk for a brief period of time? Can I get some input on a couple of things? I think finding a mentor, honestly, is really, really hard. And it depends on your field. But I think in our field tends to be a little bit challenging. But people who want to help usually are putting themselves already out there. They might be on Reddit, they might be on Twitter, they might be on Quora answering questions. So if you're on those forums or if you go to a meetup, usually again the people that want to help are already kind of trying to put themselves out there. So fish for those and see if you find someone that fits your communication style. Then hopefully they're asking the right questions. Hopefully they're getting to know you, and yeah, hopefully that can be a good mentorship partnership.
I just want to add one last thing with this, Ricardo, because you may be the same as me. It's like, I would stay away from the word mentor. Mentor, it comes with life. Like that will gradually happen. Like, CJ is my mentor, but have I ever written to him and be like, you know, you're my mentor, right? Like, I would just more be like, who do I want to talk to? Who do I want to build that relationship? And it will be 10 years down the line when you're like, oh my goodness, this person is my mentor. I think going into this, is like, I gotta go find a mentor. You're like, it's like, I gotta go find a boyfriend. It doesn't work like that. You just out there in life and just start speaking to people and building those relationships, and it will come, and it will sometimes be the most surprising person, and sometimes it's the junior person underneath you that actually has taught you the most that you would never have thought of.
For sure. And don't be afraid to ping people on LinkedIn. I've gotten a ton of different people like ask, hey, could we talk? And we've gotten together, and some of them have gone on to get great jobs. So yeah, don't be afraid to ask people and see if they respond.
I just realized I'm your mentor, Esther. And so next time we go out, have a drink, you're paying. Okay.
Fine.
And we actually have someone from the audience, Katie. She is offering some great resource. It's called ADP List online. She said this offers mentors in design. So people check it out. So if you have resources and things like that, please feel to share. This is great.